I am Katinka and you're listening to me on Dhvani Podcast.
And I am Parth, and I am back with the second part of my discussion with Katinka Van Khan. If you haven't listened to the first part yet, I would kindly request you to listen to that part first and then come back here to listen to the part 2. In this discussion, Katinka has told us about her entrepreneurial journey so far, how passionate she is about student life coaching and making the lives of students better. We have a lot to learn from Katinka and her life experiences. We had this discussion back in 2020, but the things that she has spoken about back then are even much more relevant today, I feel. Do support her in whichever way possible. I have put all the links to connect with her in the show notes. You must also listen to the episode that I and Katinka recorded for her podcast before we did this one. I have also put that link in the show notes. Her show is called the Student Life Podcast. And now, without any further ado, let's begin with today's episode with Katinka Van Khan. Here we go.
It's difficult because we get so attached.
Exactly.
We get attached to the people we work for. We get attached to the people we work with. We get attached to anybody we meet. And it's hard to say goodbye.
Right.
By the way, what I was talking about when I went on that holiday and everything collapsed and I rage quit. That same organization, I had a conversation with them yesterday and we're going to work together again. So something that I did last year they thought was very interesting and because they have a whole community that they're building here in Maastricht. Obviously, nice. I know them very well because before I started working with them 3 years ago, I did volunteer work for them for 5 years. This was I was really into that organization, but that also made it up to a point that I wasn't really building my own business. I had a business which I used building their business or free, or whatever you want to call it.
Your service for free.
That was not healthy, and with that one situation with that colleague that collapsed. But I've never got out of touch with them. I said, it's not a personal thing. Business-wise, I do not agree with what you did. I despise what you did and this is not how I want to work, and this is not the type of entrepreneurs I want to work with. So that's where we're going to stop, give it some time. But I went to all the Christmas dinners and to the gatherings. They always invited me and I always went.
That's amazing.
On the other hand, with some of the people that work there, it's been awkward. But for me, never, because I'm like, it's only awkward on a personal level.
That's the kind of values that you choose to, like if you see at the back. So that's what helped me identify that if I care about some values, I do care about them always. And then there are some values that I don't care about so much. So that's where I think that comes into picture, that I can have dinner, I can...
because what she did, for her, it was a very, very good decision. It was not bad for her that I left. I think that she would have preferred to work together in a way. But I mean, this is also a woman that has started her own business, that has 2 kids. I don't even have that. That has a mortgage to pay or whatever. And you have to make decisions from that point of view. And I was very aware of that. I was very aware of the whole situation. I saw it coming for months, right? And then it happened when I left the country. So I wasn't surprised at all. But I did tell her, we talked about this, that you were not gonna be over like that, right? And you did, and I'm mad. But okay, it was the best thing that happened to me in my whole entrepreneurial life. It opened up so much opportunities for me.
And I think this has also to do with, of course you won't say this with your own words, but I think it has to do with your will, you choose to look at things in the positive way. You can of course look at it in a way, that this is the end of it. But no,
business is over. Life is over.
A lot of people do that. I can tell you that it might sound dramatic, but that happens to a lot of people. They get back to the same shitty thing that they were trying to escape in the first place.
It's easy.
And so
it's an easy way out.
It's do I know this organization that you're talking about? Just
I don't know. It's the Masters?
No, I don't.
Turn week, I don't think so. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to make sure now that students know about that, because they have some very nice study places that nobody knows about.
Cool.
So I'm very excited to start getting that into the student community, especially with the library being closed.
That's a big...
and it's going to stay... Sanfrecce is going to stay closed. And then we all know that Maastricht University doesn't have enough study space. So I'm very excited about that. It's a very nice place. It's so beautiful. They have one location in the middle of week. So it's behind Plein 92. And they have one location near the Oude Brandweer. The restaurant Brandweer.
brand fee, yeah.
So that's also behind the university. So it's really great and people should know about it. But for the past few years, they haven't been able to get students in or get like the word out or get known in that way. So I was like, I can do that.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah, so I'm excited by that.
Like, this is a very profound question. I don't know if you have already maybe answered this in some way, but I was like, in what forms happiness comes through your work? Because let's say if we put happiness as the central, something that you're looking for, apart from the money is like you need it by default. So apart from that, if you're looking for happiness, which a lot of people do look for, so how does that comes into your work? If you can share some story or some incidents, that would be something people can relate to. You can think about it. No hurry.
Yeah, well, you already, like you said, you see my Instagram and you see everything that I post there, and that's where you see how much I enjoy everything. Because what's very important for me is that everything that I put on Instagram is real. Right? I don't have to, because when I don't feel, it's not a lot these days, but when I don't feel good, and that can be when I'm physically ill or mentally, I also put it on Instagram. You put it that way. So my day sucked. Which is also not as heavy as it used to be anymore, because now I can laugh at that. I can be frustrated and still laugh about it. But that is just a baseline of everything I've ever done in my life. I think I've always wanted to be happy. I used to, struggle a lot with depression and being down, and people around me as well, because we had a bit of a tough time growing up. So that was always something. When I was younger, I wanted to be happy, but I never believed I could be, because I wasn't happy. People around me weren't happy. It was
so really you don't have anything to look up to.
No, growing up, we really grew up from a context of survival and happiness. Right. In survival, there's no happiness. You have to survive. So you don't have time for that.
Right. That's a luxury.
And definitely. Well, it's just not there. Your instinct doesn't care about being happy, and your instinct care about you surviving, staying alive. Right. So that was quite tough, but it's always been, especially my mom, it's all she wanted for us. She wanted us to have a place where we could always come home to. So like a house where everybody would feel safe. Right. And she wanted us to be happy. So she always told me, like, it doesn't matter what you are going to do in your life. If you're going to do the dishes in a restaurant, if you're going to, I don't know, clean up the streets, whatever,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Or if you want to go to university and be a doctor, same thing, as long as you're happy. Right. Also with, our friends or our partners, they always told us, I don't care who you're coming home with, if it's a boy, if it's a girl, if it's somewhere in between, it doesn't matter, as long as they make you happy.
Exactly.
So it's something that I've always longed for, but I never really, I honestly think I never believed I could be happy.
That is something big to accept, I guess, in the first place.
Yeah. And I got quite far, like I started enjoying life more after my studies. Well, it was a bit of I have no clue what to do with my life kind of phase.
And everybody goes through that phase, for sure.
Everybody goes through that phase. And then I left, of course, because that's what you do, right? You start traveling, that's the answer. I went to South Africa, worked there with children with autism. I did some volunteer work. I worked with elephants. I traveled. I really fled my life. That's what I said then. I was aware of that. I already told my parents, like, I'm going away. This is a nice opportunity for me, but I need to get out of this town, and I need to get out of this continent. Right? I want to.
You need that sometimes.
I need to be somewhere else. And I think that is the first time in my life when I experienced that life could be different. So I went there with no money. I had like minus 400 euros in my bank account. They still let me into the country because I'm European, so who cares, So went there. I met Ziggy. He's still my best friend. I'm still in touch with him almost every day. And there were so many people that I met there, and they all liked me because of me. I had nothing to give them, right? I had no money. I had no house. Here, I've always had a roof over my head, rented houses, and all my friends would stay there. I mean, we're in the Netherlands, so I always knew the people that you could get the nice drugs from, so it was always a contact. There was always something that people could get from me, or I was just there caring and making food. When I went to South Africa, I had nothing of that. I didn't have a place. I didn't have money. I didn't know people. So the people that I met, they really appreciated me just for me.
And that's the best thing. Like,
it was so weird. Like, I honestly, it felt very awkward. I was like, so why do you want to spend time with me tomorrow as well? Really? Like, do you? Why?
You get skeptical.
Like, I was in my bed. I'm like, why do these people want to be around me? must be something quite funny. I mean, it was a whole discovery for me. And also, society works a bit different there.
Yes,
time works different there. Money works different there. Right. So that for me was also, I wouldn't say we've been poor, but we never had a lot of money. Yeah. We had a lot of kids and a lot of different houses.
Enough for making things work, make do.
Yeah, so we've always had food, maybe not the fanciest one or not like as much as you can eat, but there has always been food on our plates and a roof over our head. And I've always had clothes. So basically, fine childhood. Yeah. But when I went to South Africa, I mean, that's a whole different story there. There's kids running around without shoes and they're super happy, right? Yeah. No shoes, but they're running around throwing a ball around. And money, people don't care about money as much. Like they work, then they get money, then they don't work until they literally run out of money and don't have food anymore. They're like, oh, okay, well, let's go back to work then. It's such a different mindset.
And so much to learn from.
Yeah, and time-wise as well. Time... I mean, it's if you come at work an hour late, they're like, oh, nice that you came in, you know? It's just expectations are so different. And that was here in Europe, in the Netherlands, and I guess you know that from India as well. It's so strict, and you work that time, and this is what you get paid. And everything is so arranged, which is nice in a way. Like Ziggy, he really wants to move here, because he's like, I want that, because it also brings opportunities with it, right? You can build companies, you can do things,
structured,
grow things here. That's not really a thing in South Africa either. It's just you do what you do, live your life a bit, but actually putting something there and growing it up to a thing, gonna be quite difficult. So it really showed me so many different things. When I came back for the first time in my life, I was homesick. I've never been homesick because I grew up in different homes. Yeah. We've always traveled. So I've never really been stuck to a house. When I came back, on that first night, I cried. I'm like, I'm homesick. I'm like, now I know what all those people felt when we went on camp in the 8th grade, you know? Yeah. Everybody was crying. And I was like, why are you crying, man? Your home is there. It's not going to move. Mom's going to come pick you up tomorrow. I always thought it was such bullshit.
But you realize things from a different perspective.
Because I found a piece of myself. That was also a very big thing, and that was culturally. Here we have, you're black or you're white.
Yeah.
And you know, there's Asian and whatever, but basically you have a color or you don't. That's kind of what we have here. In South Africa, you have black, white, and colored
people. Yeah,
colored people is actually a thing there.
A thing, and not derogatory. It's not.
You even have your own racist thoughts about colored people, right? Colored people don't have teeth and they eat fish. That's what they do. Yeah. So and that's really where I found a part of myself. Yeah. Because that's who I am. Yeah. I grew up with so many cultures around me, and these cultures are in my DNA, and I've never really felt home. You don't feel home at a single one of them. Like, I'm not just Suriname, and I'm not Chinese, I'm not Dutch, I'm not Indonesian, I'm all of it. And my dad, so my stepfather, he's Afro-American. Yeah. I've known him since I was 6, so, you know, it's really that father figure, which is also a whole new culture that we got, and a new family that we got. And that's been very difficult for me always to connect to that part of me. So in South Africa, I was like, oh, so this is who I am, right? I'm a colored person, I'm a mix, and that's also a thing. It means that you belong somewhere instead of you don't belong anywhere, and you're always in between.
Right. This, you know, I was thinking about this thing, that when this thing is there, no? When people say home is where the heart is, the heart is actually at a lot of places.
Yeah, exactly.
So all of these places are home. And all of those places are in your heart. But this is the thing, like, for example, I left my home at the age of 18, like 10 years back. And I'm the only child. Like, my situation is quite opposite of you, I think.
You're the only child.
I'm the only child, very loved, you know. And my parents are like so possessive about me. They never wanted me to leave the home in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
But they took the better decision. But obviously people become rational after a point where they are like, no, he has to step out. He has to identify himself. So they let me go. And that started as a snowball, Like I lived in one city very far away from my hometown, which is like, because India, I think, is bigger than Europe in some
huge,
ways.
Yeah.
So that was first thing. Then I moved to another city. Then I did an exchange program in France for 6 months. That was like such a huge deal for my mother.
Other side of the world.
The first time when I left the country, like, this is unacceptable now. But it was happening. So I've realized that, I've lived in, my hometown is Lucknow. I moved to Bombay, Mumbai. Then I moved to Bangalore. Then I moved to Lille. Like before coming to Bangalore, I moved to Lille for 6 months. Yeah. Then I'm here. All these places live in my heart now. All these places feel like home at some point. So this is a thing that I often think about.
Yeah, I don't think, home is where the heart is. Yeah, maybe. I think the goal is to feel at home with yourself.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter where you are or with whom you are, especially now because we all have Zoom, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
As long as there's internet.
Yeah. Everything is okay.
Yeah. As long as there's internet, we're fine.
Yeah. I think it qualifies more than food now sometimes.
Definitely. I think a lot of people would leave a sandwich if they could have internet for an hour.
Exactly.
But that is very important, and for me in Africa, that's where that journey started, when I found that first piece of myself.
Yes, exactly. That's
and
what
I enjoyed life so much there.
Yeah.
They also offered me a job after 4 days on that volunteer work, so I was like, I could have stayed, but then you can never come back.
Yeah.
So I decided not to do that, but that is when it all started, right? So I came back, and then I decided I'm not going to work for a boss. So I did do I worked in the kitchen for a bit, and some 0-hour contract things while
you
figuring
tested
out.
Everything that way.
While kind of figuring out. I went to therapy. That's when I started therapy. I came back and like, okay, I'm done with all this bullshit now. Let's start this therapy thing. And then, I can finally start my life, because that's when I first saw that there is so much more for me to get. But like I said, I don't think when I was younger I believed that I actually could be happy. So if you don't see something, then you don't know it's there, and you don't know what to work towards. Coming back from Africa, I tasted that, a new life, a relaxed life, a life where you just enjoy. And I was like, I can do that as well.
And that becomes your goal then.
So I was like, first get all this buzz out of my head. So I went to therapy for a bit over a year, I think. And then I worked at the movie theater, because I figured, let's not have a job where we actually have to work with people while I'm going through therapy, don't do everything at the same time. And then coming out of that, like at some point, obviously, like they always do with me, things collapse between me and my bosses there.
And that is such a relatable thing.
Yeah, but that's also what I always knew. Like, and it's only because they stopped by like 3 times in a year there, because after like within 6 weeks, I think, or 2 months, I got promoted as projectionist, and I could become manager, but then on a different location didn't want that, but I was kind of in that manager level. And I was just one of all the managers that were there was just one that I actually felt was above me, and I respected in a way, and he's still a good friend of mine, that I felt like I can actually learn things from you, and you accept me for who I am, and we can just do our thing here in the movie theater. So that was great. And then these actual bosses, because it's a Belgian company, so they didn't visit that often. I think they came 3 times, and the 3rd time it was just done. I'm like, nope, we're not going to do this. Things that you're doing, things that you're saying, I do not agree. So I rage quit. I was like, okay, well, you don't have to fire me. I'll quit. I'm going to go to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to start my own business.
Because I think that again connect. For me, I think these all things connect to your values, that you cannot transact on your self-respect sometimes. You just cannot.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Because that's where I was telling you.
You can do it, but it's not going to make you happy.
You can do it. You can do it. People do it every day. But it takes something off you, I think, in some ways. Because that's where I was telling you that me and my bosses, it has been I really want to make something of it, like a short movie or something like that. Because I've worked under a lot of people due to my own choices. Like I switched a lot of companies at some point. But also because situations, like within a company, 5 managers changed. They all were quitting again and again. And people tell you that you have to make an image for yourself towards your boss. I stopped caring about that. I'm like, like, are you serious? Do you really think I want to create an image for this person who might leave after 1 month?
Yeah.
I create an image for myself now. And if they are okay with it, that's how it works.
Fine.
So this is one thing that I really wanted to tell you. Another thing I was thinking about all this while, very important. We'll also take towards the end of the discussion.
Yeah.
But when you are culturally so aware, when you see so many things, then you are able to pick the best out of it, I think. Yeah. Right? The best practices in the world that you can.
Yeah, definitely.
So you take the punctuality of the Dutch, the relax thing of the South Africans maybe, and then
Food of India,
and then you make something mix of it, right?
Yeah.
That's the best thing.
Definitely. And I think that's because you need an identity, right? Well, I mean, we need it for ourselves, but you mostly need it for the people around you, because people always want to know
belonging. Where
are you from?
Right.
You know, it's a question I've been asked so many times in my life, and I always say Maastricht. Oh, okay, but where are your parents from?
Yeah. There's no end to it. There's no end to that question.
Just stop it. Like you're not even gonna get it.
Yeah.
Same thing with my dad. Yeah. There's my stepfather. He married my mom last year.
Yeah.
And all my life, at some point, I was just done explaining my situation.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, my dad's gonna come pick us up. I thought that would be better if I just call him dad, and then people don't ask questions and get it over with. But I forgot. Well, I didn't realize that I would say, so my dad's gonna come pick us up.
Yeah.
And then this really, really dark black guy comes.
Yeah, and
you know, and then everybody's like,
what?
That's and in high school it was quite normal, because you know each other's families, right? Parents pick each other up, so you know
so
whose
you
parents
get habitual to it.
Yeah, and the teachers know it.
Yeah.
When I was studying, you don't know anybody's parents anymore.
Yeah.
And he went to the hospital one day because there was something went wrong with his heart, and they made like one of those heart videos.
Yeah.
And they told us we don't know what happened, because all the research is done on like white males in the age of 55 or something.
Yeah.
And he's Afro-American, so he has a different heart.
Yeah.
Which I thought, like, one, that's stupid.
I know that, yeah.
Two, why do you not do the research on Afro-American hearts then? Because there's quite a lot of them in the world. But okay, different story.
Yeah.
So I went back in school and I was like, I missed some classes because my dad went to the hospital and he made a heart video and they don't know what's up because he has a black heart. And they were like, huh? I'm like, yeah, because he's black. And I was like, huh? And I really didn't understand why they were not understanding my story.
Yeah, it's so obvious, right? Why?
Yeah.
But then you understand that people don't understand many things.
Yeah, and that's really that part of your identity.
Yeah.
You are, I think, you are allowed to pick and choose. Pick and choose
That's it.
whoever you want to be.
That's it.
Whatever culture you want to belong to. If you're not born in a certain culture, but you go there and you feel at home and you feel like you want to be that or that's part of you, fine. I mean, by me, right? Not everybody's going to be fine with that, which is also fine. But do what makes you happy. Identify as whoever you want to identify, because that is one, that's the happiness, but it also gives you purpose of belonging, and it gives you clarity on what you think of life, what your values are, why these values are yours, why it feels like you belong somewhere. I think those are very important questions to get answered, to get that purpose in life, get clarity on this is where I want to go, or this is why I want to do these things, or this is why that person annoys me, or this boss is not for me, or, you know.
I think this is one of the best things that you've said. I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people, but this is a very, very, very nice thing that you said, that you can pick it. You can pick and choose, because somewhere a lot of people are just trying to live by a code. They're trying to live somebody else's life.
And then you're not living, then you're surviving.
Yes.
That's not going to make
it. That's what. Beautiful. Nice. This can go on forever.
Yeah, this is a nice ending.
I can just keep on talking to you. Anything, I would want you to comment on how the pandemic has maybe helped, like the positives of the pandemics that have come out for you.
Yeah.
First thing. And whatever would you like to recommend people, call to action for people?
Yeah, call me, get coaching.
However you want to package it. That's what I give you this time for.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pandemic was crazy. So these days are very much engraved in my mind. 15th of March was my little sister's birthday.
Yeah.
That's when Rotte did the first speech. Like, okay, things are not going well.
Even I remember all those dates now.
Schools are probably not going to open up again. And on the 17th of March, which is my mom's birthday, that's when we went into the lockdown.
And 22nd March is my birthday. And India went on lockdown on 22nd March.
Yeah. So it went so quickly. And it's weird because I remember for February. There's people that dressed up for Carnival.
Yes.
In those Corona suits because it was funny, right? That's what you do. I mean, with Carnival, we kind of, some people take it to a political thing with humor.
Yeah, but it was
cultural thing. Not everybody that's listening might understand that. Yeah. Because it was so far away.
Right.
You know, in China, something's happening. Okay, it is a bit crazy, but it's still the flu, so don't panic. It came here, but you know, it's the flu, so don't panic. And I also thought that I'm not much for media. I stopped watching the news and reading the papers quite a few years ago. And then within 2 weeks, it all hit the fan here. And that's especially here in the south and in Brabant, because it's the two provinces that celebrate Carnival. And you really saw the cities that have the inside Carnival. So you're drinking from the not so clean glasses, and you're in these
so close inside, proximity.
Here we have outside Carnival. So I think that's mainly why it wasn't that bad in Maastricht, but still quite hectic. Went into a lockdown, and I saw that press conference with Rutte where he said we're going to go in lockdown. Schools are not going to open again, and I thought, oh my God, university's going to be closed. What is this going to do with me and my students and all the things that were on the table and all the things I was working for. Yeah, and that just stopped. That Monday, everything, I got all the emails. People that I didn't get emails from, I sent them emails and then later got back, nope, we're not doing it. Everything, school's closed as long as it's not opening up. I was going to go to Eindhoven to give workshops there and at the student hotel, and they said, well, you know, let's give it a month when we're out of lockdown. And we just postponed it because they already paid the invoice for me to come. So they were just like, it's fine. We already paid. We're going to do it next week or in 6 weeks. And then it was April, and then it was May, and it just stopped. It completely stopped.
Practically now.
Yeah, so I panicked a little bit. I went into that mood of feeling very, very sorry for myself for what am I going to do? First thing, what do I want to do? Which is working out. So I started working out with Sachit, my workout buddy, every other day. And we've done that all through the lockdown. Student radio was still there. So normally I would be live on the radio every Wednesday. Now we did live streams and pre-recorded shows. So that kind of kept me occupied and kept me in touch with the rest of Maastricht as well. Organization, students, everybody, and also to hear other people's point of view. That's very good to see. I'm not the only one. And work-wise, I thought clean slate, like we have to do what we gotta do, like what's still there. So I started doing my workshops online because I figured that should be possible, right? Made an online workshop series, so it was really fun. And for the entrepreneurs, so you have the Girls Gone International community here in Maastricht, and they asked me to give a workshop. So it was going to be a physical workshop about how to make an online course. So I told them, like, I can do that digitally. We'll split it up in 2 workshops because it's going to be a bit too long for one. Let's try it out. They loved it. And then I thought, okay, let's put that on, put that on my Instagram, because there's a lot of students that now want to do something, want to start a business, want to think about these things. So I did, and I gave it 7 times throughout the whole lockdown, donation-based, because I figured everybody's in a sad situation, so just see what comes. And it was a lot of fun, and I kept in touch with all the organizations that I was already working with every month, sending them an email like, how are things? This is what's up with me. And now it's all coming back together. So I have some one-on-one coachings that I started that I love. That's what I love to do most. So I'm very happy with that. And all these organizations now, like we discussed already, see the value of having a coach, having that extra support, making sure that your students do not end up at the psychologist, because that's kind of one of the things that I can do as a coach, prevent that things get worse. So and if I talk about my schedule wise, because I've been working 7 days a week basically since I started my business, and not every day is like 8 hours. Some days are 12 hours.
Some days
days are like 2, and you're just hanging around a bit waiting for people to respond. So it's not like, well, you work a lot. We all know you work a lot. And that's something I wanted to change, but I've never really been able to. And now that everything disappeared for me, I figured when I start building it up, I will build it up in a way that
you always want it.
Yeah, like I know now. Because it was very good for me. Like physically, I got so healthy in that lockdown. Mentally as well, it was very much a piece of my thing. I was forced into a holiday. That's the main thing, I think, for entrepreneurs. That they got forced into a holiday. Pause, see where you stand.
Exactly.
And I want weekends. So that's what everything, my new coach clients as well, I say Monday to Friday. My coaching one-on-one days are Thursday and Friday. That's one-on-one coaching and workshops. If somebody really cannot make that, we can always do like a another day.
Right.
But no more coaching in the weekends, no more practice in the weekends.
That's a discipline that you have got now.
Yeah,
which was very important.
And already now in the 3 weeks that I've been doing that, I see how much of a difference it makes for me, how much more energy I have through the day, how much more inspiration I get. And these weekends are for me, so I might still work.
Yeah.
I'm not ever gonna tell myself not to work.
Because that's your love also, right?
Yeah, so, but then it's something new to try and something new to do. Absolutely. Or I connected with a girl, a woman, fellow woman on Instagram, and she's doing energy events, mini energy events, which is going to be 2 Saturdays, one next month and one the month after. And I was like, since I have my weekends off, I can do that. This is something fun. Of course it's work, but it's so much fun and something I really want to do. And now I can, because I have my weekends for me. And that can be sitting on the couch, Netflixing all day, going to the spa, or throwing an energy event, whatever I want.
Absolutely.
So that's really what it gave me. Reset on life and take it to the next level.
See, anyway, I'm gonna put your links and everything on the show notes, all these things. But something that you can recommend, you do this on daily basis, I think. But one key information or something that you really think students and people who you can recommend something, one thing maybe
to do for yourself, you mean, or
like they should think about this at least.
I think if you want to start somewhere, that's always the most difficult part. And start with a little bit of self-care. So even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, do something. Take like a 7-minute face mask or something, a walk, a yoga session, something that you know you want, you know you need, but normally you wouldn't do that. I always say self-care is not about taking a lot of time for yourself. It's about caring enough to do something for yourself, even something small, and do that every day, just something. I think that's a really good starting point, because then you will start getting this awareness of what is it that I need, what is it that I want. It will also make you happier in a way, and that opens up all the other doors, like, I want to change maybe this in my work, take some time for me to do that, discover whatever. So I think that would be a good one to start your personal development journey, to put it like that. Take 10 minutes for yourself, any moment in the day, just for you.
Awesome. I think that's very important, and a lot of people ignore that. So
and we ignore it because we think we don't have time for it.
But we do.
And then you go to the spa like once every 6 weeks. You feel amazing for 2 days, and then
Awesome. This was an amazing discussion. To tell you the truth, I enjoy. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed it a lot, because I have been having so many discussions, and because unlike you, I think for you, podcast is one extension of your business, and most of the time it is. For me right now, this is the main thing. So I really want to make this as a product that I've been talking to a lot of people, and you know what happens is, like, you have a question that you think is very nice, and you ask that question hoping that this person will just give the best answer in the world. So my audience will be like blown away, and sometimes it doesn't happen. So you have to work around to get to that question somehow. But in this discussion, you were answering all the things that I was hoping you will answer.
I have some experience.
Exactly. So that shows. That shows now.
Do a radio show. Usually I'm the one asking the questions, but it's very fun to answer them.
Also, now we are officially off the record, I think. So maybe for the end, thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed, and we need to have this again.
Definitely.
On a new topic, and
I would love to. I don't mind talking. I chat a lot, as you know, because you have me on Instagram. But thank you for having me. I enjoyed it very much, and
awesome.
I
Thank
hope
you.
You got some tips and tricks out of it.
Thank you again. And that's how, my friends, you become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur that cares about a cause, who's passionate about something, who has a fire in the belly. I definitely learned a lot of things from Katinka, and I'm sure you, my dear listener, will also learn a lot from Katinka's life experiences. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever your podcasting platforms allows you to do. Please do that. The show is curated, hosted, written, produced, recorded by me. My name is Parth Chauhan. The theme music was composed by Cutie Pie Honey Bunch, and the logo of Dhvani was designed by Soumya Garg. Dhvani Podcast can be found on all podcasting and music platforms like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, JioSaavn, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and every other place where podcasts are usually found. If you are inspired by the things that you listen on this podcast, or if you know somebody who can come on to this show, please reach out to me. You can write to me at info@dhvani.co.in. You can also log on to the website, that is dhvani.co.in, dhvani.co.in. If you feel like sharing something but not coming onto the show, you can send me voice notes on Facebook. You can also connect to me on Instagram. All these links are mentioned in the show notes in the description. You can check that out. And I think that's it. Until next time, thank you. It is very hot in India right now, so please take care of yourself and see you in the next one. Ciao.